Is the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. You're, well, I guess we'll call this the SEC Insider Hit, brought to you by Koestler Prime and the crew here from Koestler Prime. They own the second hour of the show, but we're going to throw them in the third hour too, which is a good thing. We're excited to have Chris Robertson in the house. He's joined us several times. And Kevin Tyner has joined us several times. And we now have Caroline Finley here with us. Thank you, Caroline, for joining this crazy circus that we call the Out of Bounds Show on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I love how Caroline was like, oh, yeah, I know who you are now. I see you in the restaurant. Oh, man. Chris Robertson, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good. Thanks for getting up early for us.
That's not a problem. However, it always feels like I'm just leaving the restaurant and then coming straight here right after. So
when Blake told me that he had set this thing up, I thought, oh, hell, Chris is probably going to be there till like 1-8 because it's Christmas holidays.
it's our really slow time.
Yeah,
we have
y'all don't have
nothing
anything
going on.
You know, we're doing 300 people a night or whatever y'all are doing, 400. And I thought about you this morning. I thought, Chris probably went to sleep about 1 or 2 a.m. And when the alarm clock went off, he was like, what in the world just happened?
12:30. It was 12:30.
12:30.
Yeah.
But everything's going well?
Everything's great. We're rocking and rolling right now. It actually gets to like this freeing point right about this time. It's when we get completely booked up. Like we just cannot take any more people. So, we always try to help people. We try to get them in. We try to, make their dinner dreams come true, if you want to say that. But at this point, our book is just completely logged out. And we just have to say, I'm sorry, there's no more room. We don't have anything.
Well, especially when your private rooms are booked, that obviously, bottlenecks the
That's
other
something I
part
don't
of the
think
restaurant.
I don't think a lot of people think about that. We're a 10,000 square foot restaurant. We're huge. But when you take up all of those rooms, we're actually pretty small.
Yeah.
Like when every room is booked for a party, that only leaves a third of the restaurant to actually work with.
Well, I was in the bar last night meeting a friend and a client, and then another friend tapped me on the shoulder and said, come back and see us. We rented a room, or we have a room tonight.
Right.
And as I was walking back, I could just tell that y'all were loaded up. I mean, every room was rolling.
It is. Yeah. And it's like that every day now, which again kind of makes it easier because we know what we're getting into every single day. We know it's parties. I go ahead and I set up the restaurant the night before. The people that are really getting hit is the bar. The bar just gets increasingly popular around this time. Oh, they like it. Yeah.
Kevin Tyner's like, bring it on. And Caroline Finley with us too. We're visiting with Chris Robertson, Koestler Prime in the house on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Yeah, and it was funny how you were telling us, people come in, like this big group last night. They came in, we were sitting at one of your tables at the bar, and some of them get a drink. It'll be maybe 15, 20, 25. They shuffle in for a minute. Then they go back to the room, and then some of them may come back to the bar at 8 or 9 o'clock or whenever that happens, at 10 o'clock at night.
I always thought that a civil engineer would have a great time at the restaurant just looking at flow dynamics from the flow of people that move this way, then that way. But it's almost predictable. They always kind of do the same thing. It gets busy before they go to their party. They go to a party, gets kind of slower, if you want to call it that. And then after they get out of the party, they stop by the bar again. So there's like a second or tertiary hit going on.
See, I have to get in and out.
Oh, you're a sleeper for sure.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
You sneak in there and sneak out.
See, if I get off schedule, I know this sounds ridiculous, but if I get off schedule, I'm done.
Right.
It's like within 30 minutes, if I get off schedule, I can't sleep.
No, I get it.
So
I've got a guy, a buddy of mine that does CrossFit, and he's religious about it, 5 a.m. every morning. But he also likes to go out and have fun. But he is home and in bed by 9 o'clock every single night.
Yeah.
And if he throws that off, his whole day's ruined.
Same way, 9:30.
Yeah.
9:30, shower, I'm hitting the hay. So, but I did have a great time from
Good.
4:30 to
Good,
6:30
I'm glad.
yesterday.
Speaking
and
of
my filet was fantastic. And I invited Blake,
that's true, but I was
but
busy.
he already had something going on. So that's the reason why you only saw me yesterday.
I'll take you any day. Blake's just a bonus.
Speaking of staying on schedule, would you like to introduce the first cocktail we're doing before we go on to other topics?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I have it in front of me?
You should, or Chris can.
Well, I've got it.
Well,
can
I'd
tell
rather
you.
Chris do it because he's the manager of Koestler Prime, and that makes more sense.
All right, so we've got 3 cocktails for you today, and as on the other shows that I've been on, I've always been a huge proponent of making these at the house, which you can still do. But I've got one that's a little more complicated. But
Good.
the other 2 are very simple home cocktails. First one, and I'm not going to give you the pleasure of calling this the Bo Bounds Old Fashioned, but it is modeled after something that you've brought to us that you like.
Right.
You want to tell them about how you found that out?
Yes, I was in Lexington, Kentucky with our Russell's Reserve Long Branch guys when we were picking out the barrel pick for Scott Koestler and Nathan McCarty. And Kevin Laxton asked me if I'd ever had a Russell's Reserve Old Fashioned with Grand Marnier.
Absolutely. So
And I hadn't.
this is a Russell's Old Fashioned. It's a little bit of a different play on it. It's going to be using a little Grand Marnier. One of the things we do behind the bar is you can make anything sweeter by adding sugar to it. Sugar being simple syrup, whatever you want to do. The trick is to find a sweetening agent that brings to the table some inherent qualities, a different flavor, a little more touch, and what you get is a layered cocktail that offers things on all levels.
Yes.
So Russell's is a great, great whiskey to start with. Stands up well in a cocktail. Caroline's making it right now. And the Grand Marnier is going to add little touches of orange, little touches of that kind of sweetness without being overly sugarly sweet. What you want to get away from is like a candy-coated nature to it.
Agree.
We want something that's authentic. We want the flavor of the main driving spirit to stand up and still be noticeable.
You know, when I was bartending and making old fashions, we never thought about doing Grand Marnier. And I don't want to surprise you in the mid-90s. Right? But when Kevin told me about this and I had it, I thought it was delicious. Plus, I'm a Grand Marnier guy, neat, with a, like, La Flor Dominicana cigar.
Well, that's because you're a classy gentleman.
Well, you know what Blake said earlier this week? He said the Renaissance man is coming in studio.
Chris Robertson.
And I said, who? And he went, Chris Robertson. I said, yes, he is.
He's the Southern
our
Renaissance.
official Renaissance man.
I think I can slum it pretty well if I need to, too.
I think so. All right, so Blake, you sound like you were hurrying me
No,
up.
no, I just wanted you to start the first
Got
cocktail
it,
so
got
that we
it.
could get
My
going.
bad.
No, we got to, because 24 minutes is a long time, and then you find out 24 minutes can go
I
that
see,
fast.
I see where we are. We're
So
already 8 minutes into the segment.
We're Gucci, baby. And
Okay.
plus, I like to get the cocktails rolling. You know me.
Good deal. All right, I
Get
may
that
have
juice
waited too
flowing.
long on that. So we're
okay.
off and running on what Chris Robertson just described as a Russell's Reserve Old Fashioned with Grand Marnier. Is that
It's
the
a
way to
play
say
on
it?
it's a play on a Russell's Old Fashioned, and it's your play. You brought it to the table, so
Okay.
we actually really like it. We tried it one night after you left, and we're like, why have we never done Grand Marnier in this before?
Kevin's gonna be so happy.
Don't pump his ego up this much, Chris. That's
Good
a
hell,
lot.
Why not?
That's a
My
lot.
name's on the show.
That's a lot.
You don't act like it sometimes, but it is.
I'm pretty
So-
sure it's not out of Blake with Blake.
He thinks it is. Kevin Tyner, thank you, buddy. Okay. This is it. All right, cheers.
I like it.
I'm
The
gonna
out
take
of bounds
some.
old fashioned.
I love this Christmas glass.
Yeah, we try to stay festive. We do like the holidays at Koestler. In fact, one of the things making all these rooms and setting up parties is we have Christmas trees everywhere. We have live Christmas trees in every single room. One room has 2 live Christmas trees, so it's always an
Y'all
issue
went live?
putting.
I'm
Oh yeah, we
impressed
go
with
live
you.
every year.
I don't even have them. All right. Once my kids got older, Wendy was like, we're going with a tree that's, I guess you call artificial or whatever. And so we just rolled that bad boy out of the attic.
Well, I think Scott and Julie and I spend so much time at the restaurant that if we can decorate, we're decorating that place. I was hanging wreaths yesterday. It was covered in glitter, but it goes on for a while.
All right. Chris Robertson, Koestler Prime on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. Kevin and Caroline, this is delicious. Thank you for the Russell's Reserve.
It's a hit.
Yeah. With Grand Marnier. Blake Scott?
Does it make it feel? Does it feel like a holiday old fashions that feel like
absolutely.
something you want with a little cold weather. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I figured too.
I think one of the things you want in a cocktail, and I think this really does show this perfectly, it's a simple cocktail. You can do this at home. It's just a touch, but it's the blending part of it. Do note I didn't say blender, but it's blending the flavors to where you're not just hit with 3 separate flavors. What you've got is this unanimous one product that you've created, and it goes seamlessly across the palate.
Okay. I love that, by the way. That's a Renaissance man
Yeah.
description. I could not have
That's
done that.
That's how I talk about my football team. You know, we got to come together as one in one harmonious flavor.
There you go.
There we go.
I mean, I can pair it with the Liga Privada from Havana Smoke Shop, but that's as far as I go. Chris framed it up better, and you know what I'm talking about, Kevin Tyner. Where are we going next?
We're going to do a Patron cocktail.
All right, so I'm going to...
All right, so this is, again, a play on something else. This one's going to get a little kookier,
Patron.
a little more fun, a little more bar exquisite. Some of these things you're not going to have at the house. You can get these bottles and keep them at your house, and trust me when I say that a little bit of investment for your home bar, these bottles will go forever, and you'll always have them there, and you'll always have something you can pull from. So this is a holiday Christmas Paloma. Paloma is a tequila cocktail. Paloma meaning dove. In fact, when I was in Mexico, when you get deep into Mexico, hardly anybody drank margaritas. It was all Palomas. But it's tequila, grapefruit, lime.
So we're using Patron
Silver. Absolutely.
Okay.
When you're selecting tequila, it's not hard. You don't have to go into gimmicks. There's just one thing you absolutely have to look for. 100% agave. Yes. And Patron has long been a 100% agave product. In fact, for a while around the 90s, everything got diluted. Everything got kind of mismatched into this horrible chemical concoction. If you look at some of the other stuff, if you read the back and it says 51% agave, that means that 49% of it is neutral grain spirit, caramel coloring, things like that. Let tequila be tequila.
Right.
100% agave.
That's
So
why,
Patron's a great vehicle for this.
and we were excited when we landed them last month.
Oh, yeah.
And they went over that several times right at that bar that, hey, our tequila, Patron, is 100% agave.
Now, this cocktail is also using some things you probably haven't heard of too much. It's also going to use a little velvet falernum. Velvet falernum, for the lack of any other way of
love that.
describing this.
Does she dance at Danny's downtown? That sounds
No,
like...
On
hold
Thursday.
She would be at. Put some respect. She would be at Aria in Las Vegas. That
There
does
we
not
go.
sound like Danny. Sorry. Go ahead, Chris Robertson. Good grief.
All right, so velvet falernum is a long-standing component of many, many, many tiki drinks. In fact, so many tiki drinks use velvet falernum, it's ridiculous. You'll see it everywhere. I always call it Christmas in a bottle. This is citrusy. Again, it's your sweetening agent, but it's clove. It's got so much clove in it. Then you smell it and you just think Christmas. We're also using a really old Italian liqueur. It's actually a Rosolio, but the name of it is Italicus. The best way I could describe this is bergamot. So bergamot being that major factor that you get from like Earl Grey tea. You'll get it in a lot of soaps and things like that. That kind of herbal man muskiness. It's
Okay.
just amazing. So you've got cloves, you've got bergamot.
Incredible.
And all this stuff. You don't have to make it home. Like, you don't have to make the syrup. You can go buy this.
Okay.
And again, these bottles will stay on your shelf for
Thanks,
a long
buddy.
time because you only use a little bit of it.
I can't wait to try this.
How much do you wish someone would describe you as herbal man muskiness?
Hey, Chris Robertson can frame this stuff. You know what? He could be the voiceover on any really cool audio.
He's poetic and he's a lyricist.
This
Absolutely.
balance is amazing.
I
Yeah.
always tell people the biggest thing you got to do is pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to what you're drinking, notice why you like it, find that.
Is it good?
You crushed. It's delicious.
How do you
Oh,
like
man.
the nose on that?
It's so good.
What do you
Yeah.
mean? Okay, I have two questions.
It's
One, what do you
trippy.
mean by nose?
The nose is the scent, the aroma that you get off the top. Everything that I take. In fact, I love Scotch. Scott loves Scotch. There's times
Yes.
where Scott and I just sit and we don't even drink. We just keep smelling and we just keep talking about it off the nose. And the nose is what you get. And that goes into wine. It goes into everything else. It's an industry term.
I love it. I assume a lot of our listeners probably don't know that. My second question is this: we talked about Patron silver is what we're using.
Right.
But there's also Patron Añejo and Extra Añejo and Reposado.
Oh, yeah.
And we might understand the principal idea that they go up in order of quote unquote value or flavor, and that they also go up like that they age longer. But what is like a flavor profile? What's the difference if I'm trying to make cocktails? How do I know whether I want a silver or I want a darker tequila when I'm dealing with Patron?
Well, the same thing that I tell everybody with to start off with when you're cooking with wine, cooking with alcohol, cook with what you like to drink. Silver is going to be your unaged. Reposado essentially means rested. And then añejo is aged. So that is the longer that it rests, it's resting in an oak barrel. Right. So it's picking up notes of wood. It's picking up smoky qualities. Everybody thinks that añejo is going to be either super smoky, and a lot of times they're thinking about mezcal, but it can be super smooth, and it's just that aged quality. As it sits there, gets a little older, gets a little wiser. It learns a couple of stories to tell.
I love it. Chris Robertson with Koestler Prime on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. He is the official Renaissance man of the Out of Bounds show. And this, what is this called again?
That is our Christmas Paloma.
Paloma.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Paloma with Patron Silver.
It's also in a Christmas glass, mind you.
And this one's got the snowman on it.
We have festive holiday glassware now at Koestler.
I love it. All right, coming up, are we going to do the third one here?
Yeah, you got
Blake
time.
Scott?
You got time, yeah.
Looks like to me we have plenty of time.
Plenty of time, baby.
All right. Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. You can watch this circus, yes, on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. And also Facebook, search the Out of Bounds Show. And Caroline is trumping us on as far as why people would want to watch the show. But we all feel good about it.
Well, it's nice to have a girl in the studio.
No doubt. and Blake mentioned that. He was like, they're going to bring Caroline, and I was like, great, that works for us.
One of the things I love about hiring Caroline is she's worked at other bars. You know, a lot of the bartenders around town have worked at several different bars, and they've met lots of people that live in different parts of town. It's always funny when one of her old regulars comes in and sees her and like, oh, you're here now, and then all of a sudden they start popping by. But I think that's always funny with Jackson and Ridgeland is everybody kind of sticks to their own haunts,
right?
But there's always their own bartender in every haunt.
That's right. All right, next up, we are crushing it this morning. Blake decided to go 3 for 3 on cocktails.
I think we usually do too.
We do. And now we're going with a Tito's vodka holiday Christmas cocktail. What do you have for us, Chris Robertson?
All right, so we're doing another holiday play on a mule. So mule, a buck, everybody's kind of gotten synonymous with it. About 10 years ago, the Moscow mule was the talk of the town. Everybody was having it, copper mugs and all. There's a lot of stuff you can play with that. The mule essentially is adding a ginger beer component. You've got Moscow mules, Kentucky mules with bourbon, Mexican mules with tequila. This is the traditional play on the Moscow mule, which is Tito's vodka. Now, the way we're spicing it up is we're going to be doing a little bit of unfiltered, always a point, apple cider. So still giving that holiday flair, a little bit of accoutrements to it, which actually adds to the taste. If you want to add a cinnamon stick for a stir stick,
yes,
it's amazing. So you're picking up notes of cinnamon. But again, everything's only as good as its components. Get a good apple cider. Don't just get like the clear,
crappy,
cheap stuff. If you go to Whole Foods, if you go to Fresh Market, you usually find a huge jug of this stuff that looks like it came from Prohibition era. But it's apple cider. Unfiltered gives you a lot more taste, too.
Blake, did you pick up on that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm taking notes over here.
Thank you, Chris.
If there's anyone I want to be when I get older, it's Chris Robertson.
Well, no. Did you notice what he put emphasis on? And we do this when we're talking on sports,
absolutely,
analytics,
absolutely,
unfiltered.
Yeah,
unfiltered.
It matters.
Cider.
As someone who's tried to cook before, the difference in salted butter and unsalted butter,
Hello.
it matters. I assume this would fall into the same category. You will know the difference.
Absolutely.
When you have
we'll look at
unfiltered.
let's take craft beer for instance. Craft beer is not just IPAs or sours now. Craft beer is everything, but it's taking craft to make it, put a little more emphasis into it, a little more touch, a little more artistry. There's nothing wrong with Miller Lite. I love Miller Lite. But you could have other Pilsners that pick up lots of different kind of flavors.
Sure.
You're looking for something else, just like we were talking about a sweetening agent that brings another level to the table.
This Tito's Moscow Mule
Absolutely.
is delicious.
Tito's, Austin, Texas, great vodka.
I got to give Kevin props. He went 3 for 3.
I wouldn't do that.
I know you don't want me to give him props. You told me before we started.
You got to watch out with Kevin. He's gotten big. We've made him famous, and I think it's gone to his head.
No, here's what he did. They've done a great job every time they come in, but they took it to another level today.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't really even take that much credit for, or any credit for this. I've been bar director. I've been bartending. I've done all kinds of stuff, but the bar has really gotten to a point to where it's these guys running it. Kevin always jokes and says, you must have been busy tonight. I barely saw you. But I try to let the bar, as long as I know they're handling it.
Sure.
My bartenders are great.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love them, and any one of them can do this. But now I'm not even in a directing role. I just critique things. So it's not that bad. They just give me things to taste.
Which means you built a good team.
They are that.
So, all right. Oh, he's making more. I like it. I like the way Kevin Tyner thinks. He's like, game on. So, I want to recap real quick because I just received a text message on recapping that we've got 2 minutes.
Sure.
Chris Robertson, Koestler Prime. And again, thank you, Kevin Tyner and Caroline Finley for coming in. Hopefully she'll come in again because who knows when you see this circuit. All right, Chris Robertson, let's go through again the where we started with the Russells and then through the Patron and Tito's.
All right, so starting off, we've got the unofficial Bow Bounds Old Fashioned. That's going to be Russell's Reserve. That's a single barrel. A little bit of Grand Marnier for taste, and little drops of bitters. It's the basic concoction for any old fashioned. Moving into next, we've got the Christmas Paloma. This is our holiday flair on a classic drink. This is going to be Patron Silver, Velvet Falernum, Italicus, which was the bergamot liqueur I told you about.
All of that is how many radio shows?
None.
Okay.
0.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
And grapefruit being the biggest part of any Paloma. And then to round it all off, we've got the Apple Cider Mule. So your classic Tito's Moscow Mule using an unfiltered, largely crafted apple cider. A little bit of lime.
You crushed it. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us. We love doing this.
Oh, we had a great time. Kevin and Caroline, thank you. We appreciate y'all. Koestler Prime in the Renaissance and KoestlerPrime.com. Good luck getting in the next week or so, but there's always January. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't call and see what...
call ahead. See if we have openings.
Call ahead.
The bar is always open.
No,
first come, first serve.
Was rocking yesterday.
Drop Bo's name.
No, don't do that. God, I'll get in trouble. Hell no. All right, thanks, Chris Robertson.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you, Kevin and Caroline. Appreciate y'all. Merry Christmas. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be live from the Golden Moon Casino, Sportsbook and Lounge, having a little party there. And Blake and I will be at Philip M's tonight. Looking forward to that. And we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to the Out of Bounds Show on 105.9 The Zone, ESPN.